Welcome to La Ciotat. This giant shipyard is situated on the south of France's Mediterranean coast, and it caters to 1/7 of the world's super yacht fleet. But it wasn't always that way. The shipyard once built massive oil and gas carrying supertankers, and the shipyard was almost lost forever after it closed in the 1980s. Shipbuilding here dates back to the 1500s with the building of small fishing vessels. But in the 19th century, Louis Binet, the son of a wealthy shipowner from La Ciotat, took over a small sailboat shipyard and turned it into a modern company. As a savvy businessman, Binet brought engineers and propulsion systems from England, and in 1836 launched the first French steamship in the Mediterranean, La Phocéenne I. In 1847, La Ciotat Shipyards launches La Bonaparte, the first steamship with a propeller and an iron hull in the Mediterranean. But in the years that followed, an industrial crisis leads Louis Binet to sell his company to the National Courier. And over the next 100 years, the shipyard would continue to grow and change hands, and hence change names many times. The shipyard would build larger and more complex ships, and in turn the shipyard would continue to grow in size until 320,000-ton supertankers would be constructed here. Unfortunately, in 1978 the oil crisis plus competition from Asia led to downsizing. Production focused on oil tankers and repairs of gas carriers, also towards repairs of large vessels. In 1987, the last ship built in La Ciotat is launched, named Monterey. On the 31st of July 1988, the shipyard closes down, locking the Monterey, still docked inside. And the history of the shipyard could have ended right there. However, 105 former employees fought to save the shipyard and made deals with the local government, and eventually were underwritten to reopen the shipyard. And in 2000, that's exactly what happened. The shipyard reopened. So the shipyard is renamed La Ciotat Shipyards, a name that remains to this day. In the following 20 years, La Ciotat has turned into one of the foremost refit shipyards for yachts and mega yachts in the world. In order to adapt the facilities at the yard to cater for super yachts, a number of changes needed to be made. They had to reduce the 335-metre dry dock down to 200 metres. 335 metres was too large for even the largest super yacht. The only option was to shorten the dry dock. The gate used to be right out there. The dry dock was 335 metres long. So obviously draining out that much water is not economically viable. So what they did is they took the gate, the floating gate, and they moved it 135 metres shorter, and they made a 200-metre dry dock out of it. Big enough for even the biggest super yachts of today. Also, the addition of a 2,000-ton synchrolift, which caters for smaller super yachts, allowed vessels to be lifted out of the water and then moved to a working area on land, or even into one of these massive buildings for refit and repairs. So 30 years after the closure of the former Nomad Yard, the La Ciotat Shipyard is well on the way to a remarkable turnaround, and it's playing a leading role in the Mediterranean market for super yacht refits and services. In the 25th century, approximately 100 yachts over 50 meters, or about 1/7 the world's fleet of super yachts, come to La Ciotat shipyards every year for refit and repair work.